Welcome back into the studio, everybody. I'm Stephen Levine from NASCAR Illustrated, sitting alongside Bob Pockris from Sporting News Media. Is that where you're from now?
Sporting News Media,
Sporting
yes.
News Media. Bob Pockris, NASCAR writer for Sporting News Media. Looking forward to Martinsville. It's a shame, really, that Denny Hamlin isn't going to be participating in this race, because this is one of those tracks that you can basically pencil in for him. Pocono, Richmond, Martinsville, he always has a shot at winning. If he's in the top 20 in points and he wins a couple of races, he could still make the chase. But this is a race that you would think is one of those he could win.
Not only that, when we talked to Denny the other day, he's like, I should have won California. I mean, because he feels like he would have won that race if he wasn't taken out. So he's like, think about it. Won California, and be going to Martinsville, where you would think he could be going for 2 in a row. So yeah, and the only thing he's going to be able to do is eat hot dogs, and listen to Mark Martin from the on the radio as Denny sits atop the pit box.
Do you think he's coming to the track?
He said he's coming to the track. He said that he goes, no matter how good you are at a track, to listen to another driver who's in your equipment, they've pretty much said they're going to run Denny's setups. They're not going to tailor things for Mark. Mark wants to run Denny's setup because Denny's been so good there. He'll be able to get a real good feel maybe of things that maybe he'll want to change, or things that he shouldn't change, or just, he's really interested to see how Mark does in his stuff. I mean, obviously, he wishes that he was the one running it, but he believes that he can learn something by being there.
All right. Well, it's not like these new cars are going to have a real big impact on how Martinsville is raced, because Martinsville doesn't really have a lot to do with aerodynamics. It's basically, track position, getting through the corners, and don't ruin your brakes. Anything I'm missing?
The only other thing missing is don't spin out the guy in front of you and get collected in it, right? I mean, that's... you may joke about that, but think how many times that happens, or just hopping the curb and then running into the guy in front of you. I mean, Dale Earnhardt Jr. caused a wreck, 10, 20 laps into a race in the last couple of years, just, being kind of on the chip too early. Yeah, the whole key is going to be patience, and as you said, don't heat up your brakes so much that you melt beads and tires.
This is the track where I really understood for the first time what we talk about when we talk about getting through the center of the turn and forward bite, because you can really see it at Martinsville, I think, in a way you can't necessarily at other tracks. It helps that the press box...
because they're going so slow.
Well, and it helps that the press box is positioned right there in the turn, but you can really watch two cars go into the corner and maybe a guy get through the center better and then get back into the gas and get some traction again. So watch for that, because I think Martinsville is a great place to sort of get that concept.
And you just watch how much they hug the curb there in the turns, and it's pretty unbelievable how they do that. I mean, those guys, this is not an easy ride at all. I mean, they're on the brake, off the brake, on the gas, on the brake. I mean, it's a very... I can tell you what, if you don't have a good car there, it has to be annoying as anything, because you're there and you don't get a chance really to get into a rhythm.
And all those things feed into one another, because if you don't have a good car that's handling well, then you have to rely on the brake to get into that corner, and you melt a bead. So you have to have the handle to save the brakes.
And we've seen a lot of melted beads already this year, right? At Phoenix and Bristol. Now teams will have their cars set up maybe a little bit more to compensate for that, Martinsville, as they always do. So it might just be a matter of having the vents and the cooling systems maybe hooked up in their normal Martinsville way. That will decrease the number of melted beads, but I'm sure guys are going to be looking at those things pretty carefully in practice on Friday. All
right, well, with Denny Hamlin out of the pictures, does Jimmy Johnson automatically go into sole position of the favorite, the race favorite?
Probably, although, I mean, you got to look at a guy like Tony Stewart's won there recently. Jeff Gordon, is going to be good there, I think. I mean, he nearly won the race a year ago, right? Neither him nor Johnson. Well, don't be mad at Newman, be mad at Boyer, right? Remember, that's where this whole Boyer-Gordon thing got started.
Right, because Boyer led over 150 laps in the fall at this track.
And of course, he was the one who got into Gordon and Johnson there at the end of the race a year ago. So my pick is actually Boyer, just because I think maybe he's due for a win at this track.
Well, and he's a short track guy. I mean, exactly. He wins at short tracks when he wins. in general.
Yeah, the hard part is that this is not your typical short track, because your typical short track is not the paperclip shape that Martinsville is. I mean, even Dale Jr. said he thought he'd be great at Martinsville because he grew up on short tracks, but not so much. He ran into just about everything his first few starts.
But
there.
he's not bad at Martinsville now, and he's actually due for a win here. Remember, he conceded that race, well, not conceded, that race to Kevin Harvick a few years ago. I don't think Dale Jr. is a bad pick at this track. It would be his first Martinsville win, but I don't think it's a reach to see him in victory lane here.
No, not a reach at all. It's kind of, I think it'd mean a lot to him to win at a track with so much history.
All right, for Bob Pockrass, I'm Stephen Levine. Thanks a lot for watching.